This is the morning of the 18th of May. A clip by Derek Van Schaik, S-C-H-A-I-K. Plays for 16 minutes. How Secret Service missed every shot on Cole Allen and nearly shot their own agents. Psychology. I think they actually did shoot one of their own agents, the guy that had the bulletproof vest on. Let's have a listen.
How did the Secret Service miss all their shots on Cole Allen, the 31-year-old who attempted a political assassination rampage?
You're alive! And you're a horrible shot!
And why is it that the canine dog knew that Cole was a threat before the human cops did? We're gonna break down all of that and so much more with forensic psychology and body language using this newly released high-quality security footage. Now, let's get started. In this newly released footage, we see him roaming around the hotel and exploring the hotel, similar to how maybe we would explore a hotel, a new environment that we haven't been in before. Problem is that he's not just innocently exploring the hotel, but he's actually appears to be casing the hotel to plan out his attack on the next day. He brought his 12-gauge shotgun in his suitcase,
A Maverick 88.
and a .380 semi-automatic pistol.
Baby Rock, and this is a 1911, and it's in .380 ACP.
Which, according to his manifesto, he wanted to assassinate many Trump administration members, excluding Kash Patel for some reason. What's interesting in all of this is his behavior. Do you notice anything odd or not odd at all? Yeah, interestingly, he doesn't appear to be acting very psychotic in this footage. Although in his manifesto seems to indicate some psychosis, here, he doesn't seem to be acting very psychotic. We don't seem to notice him acting very strange or erratic in any of this footage, although a person who may be psychotic may not show symptoms of psychosis when they're just casually walking through hotel hallways. Nevertheless, this type of security camera footage of him casually walking through the hotel hallways and acting fairly normal, that's not going to play well, at least, to any jury if they're going to claim that Cole was psychotic.
Nobody would really try to assassinate anyone with a .380 semi-automatic. I mean, that's ridiculous. And they wouldn't have a pump-action shotgun. They'd have a semi-automatic shotgun, if they had a shotgun at all. Just thought I'd mention that.
Just because someone doesn't look or act psychotic doesn't mean they're just not psychotic. Sometimes people who are experiencing psychosis can appear very composed or logical on the surface, even if their internal reality is distorted. This is because they could be masking symptoms to make themselves appear more normal and organized. Psychosis is extremely complex and is not always the stereotypical erratic and odd behavior.
Cole Allen developed a prototype for a wheelchair emergency brake.
The wheelchair brakes tend to walk the wheels, but don't actually lock the chair to the ground.
What's extremely interesting in this security footage is just how calm he really is here. At this point in his mind, he likely believes that he only has 24 hours left on this earth. He's calmly strolling around the halls of the hotel, jovially chatting it up with the desk employee of the gym of the hotel. When someone's psychotic, their sense of reality can be totally altered. They might have delusions, firm beliefs that aren't real, and they might not fully grasp the consequences of their actions. Fear or self-preservation instincts can be dulled or overshadowed by their distorted thinking. So they may not experience that nervousness or fear because their mind is convinced of a different reality. And based on what we read allegedly in his manifesto, it appears that he believes he's on this noble mission. In his manifesto email, he said that he can't permit a PDF file, apist, and traitor to coat his hands with those crimes, basically implying that he believes President Trump and others in the administration are guilty of what was mentioned in the Epstein files, and decided to take action in his own hands. Although that's his stated reason for doing this, that's a very diluted rationale. Psychosis can distort someone's ability to think about long-term consequences, including death. Delusions or hallucinations might convince them that they're invincible, or that death means something entirely different. So that short-sightedness can come from the altered perception of reality that psychosis brings. He wrote that he would like to extend his appreciation to a great many of people, since he would likely not be able to talk to them again. Unless the Secret Service, he says, is astoundingly incompetent. Cole in his manifesto allegedly said that, hey, this is the end for me and everything like this, so he pretty much knew that that was going to be it for him, knew that he had less than 24 hours to live, and yet he's so calm just walking around the hotel and chatting it up with hotel employees. Although some may say, well, that behavior is just psychopathic. Yes, that could be psychopathic, but based on what we know and what we read in his manifesto, this behavior seems to be more psychosis related as opposed to psychopathic. And now we see Cole walking the halls of the hotel when the event is now going on. The event started at 8 p.m. This is now 8:23 p.m. And he knows from allegedly watching online that President Trump and all the high-ranking administration officials have arrived and everyone is in that banquet room. And if you notice, we see him wearing a longer overcoat here. You know why? Yes, it's to hide his shotgun, at least temporarily, and also all the other weapons that he has strapped to his body, including all the knives that he had on him, and also his .380 semi-automatic pistol. Now here we have the security footage of the entrance to the event, where they had 2 magotrometers up so that they could scan people for weapons to make sure that no one goes into the event with weapons. However, at this point in time of the event, they're probably not going to accept any new people to enter the banquet room. So they're just taking down the magotrometer metal detectors because they don't need them. No one's coming in. You have 2 uniformed Secret Service officers taking down one of the metal detector magotrometers here, 3 other uniformed Secret Service officers who are basically just standing guard, 1 plainclothes Secret Service officer who's wearing a suit and tie, and what appears to be 4 TSA employees who appears to have been hired just for this event to operate the magotrometers. Now watch this part where Cole Allen is first seen in this situation. See what you think.
Ad popped up.
Yes, Cole is still wearing his overcoat, and he walks into this side hallway or room, immediately followed by an officer and his canine. The canine pulls the officer into that area where Cole just went into. The officer didn't appear he was going that way, but the canine was like, no, I think I smell something a little fishy over here, and starts pulling him in that direction, in that room or in that hallway where Cole just went. The canine on the leash goes all the way in while the officer stays within that hallway, but the canine is clearly very skeptical of what's going on and clearly feels like something's very suspicious. These canines that work with Secret Service are probably just not sniffing out for explosives, but also firearms and the smell of gunpowder. And if Cole somewhat recently fired his weapon even just in practice a few days ago, then that would leave a residue where the dog would be able to pick up on that scent. Also, allegedly, Cole carrying a lot of rounds may have signaled to that dog that his scent was a lot stronger with gunpowder than anyone else and may have tipped that dog off and caused that dog to become more suspicious of Cole. Now, as soon as that canine and police officer continue on their sniffing journey, then we see Cole make his appearance. Do you notice anything different about Cole now when he exits that doorway as opposed to when he entered into that room or hallway? Yes, he doesn't have his overcoat on anymore. Instead, now he has his shotgun in hand. Therefore, it appears what Cole was doing in that side room or hallway over there was to shed his jacket and then also get ready holding his shotgun. Since that officer with his canine was looking through that doorway basically the whole time Cole was in there, how is it possible he did not see Cole shed his jacket, exposing all his guns and knives that was strapped to his waist? And how did he not see Cole prepare himself by getting his shotgun ready in his hands? He was apparently looking at Cole the whole time. He surely saw Cole ready himself, and Cole apparently saw that officer too, because as soon as that officer leaves with his dog, Cole immediately comes running out with his many open carried weapons on his waist and shotgun in hand. That means Cole Cole was likely only a few feet from that doorway, and therefore only a few feet from that officer the whole time. Do you think that officer is blind, in on it, or do you think Cole was somehow hiding behind something in there? Cole apparently thought he could just run right past Secret Service and make his way easily into the banquet room. Did he really think if he just runs fast enough past Secret Service that they'll just ignore him and just be like, he's too fast for us, we'll just let him go?
His speed was rather incredible. Actually, it was like a blur. I think the NFL should sign him up. He was fast.
This attempt here was just so juvenile and grandiose, believing that he could just run right past them and enter the banquet room and do whatever he wants as soon as he's in the banquet room, and gets to target anyone he wants in the banquet room because there won't possibly be any counteroffensive at all. However, this type of grandiose, almost juvenile type thinking is very common with psychosis. Now, when Cole runs out from that doorway, he has his shotgun in hand and ready to fire. What's interesting is that many of those Secret Service officers, the plainclothes Secret Service officer and the uniform Secret Service officers, all seem to see Cole go through that doorway. However, that Secret Service officer was looking the other way. Cole made his mad dash through that security checkpoint. He probably knew it was a little suspicious at this point in time of the event that someone would walk in that area that wasn't supposed to, or that he would know should be there. However, once the police officer and the K9 checked it out and they walked past, that officer became much more relaxed. Now Cole sprints through the magnetrometer. Yes, Cole shoots a round of buckshot at that Secret Service officer. It allegedly hits his bulletproof vest, and that Secret Service officer now fires at Cole.
The suspect shot our officer point blank range. Our officer heroically returned fire.
You're alive! And you're a horrible shot.
However, what's curious is notice that uniformed Secret Service officer's hands in their position. Yes, he has his hands pointed forward in a drawn weapon pointed at Cole when Cole allegedly shoots a buckshot round at that Secret Service officer.
What happens when you shoot that is the casing stays inside the firearm, and then if you reload it, it pops it out. My understanding is that it was inside the firearm, but hadn't been ejected.
However, what's interesting is how did that Secret Service officer get a round of buckshot to his bulletproof vest, his chest, when he has his hands pointed all the way forward, pointing his gun at Cole? Wouldn't the round of buckshot at least partially hit his hands too? Kind of odd, because that round of buckshot is supposed to spray a whole bunch of pellets in the direction of their target. At least some of those pellets in that buckshot surely would have hit his hands, but apparently nothing hit his hands or anything, because supposedly everything just went into his vest, so much so is that he needed to go to the hospital.
But he went because they asked him to go. I would have said to tell him not to go. If he doesn't want to go, what do you force him to go for? Because then the press will say, oh, he was badly hurt. No, he didn't want to go to the hospital.
I'm not saying anything did happen or didn't happen, just saying that I think we need some more explanation here. Now, that uniformed Secret Service officer is shooting at Cole multiple times at close range. Yeah, Cole is running very fast, but that's very close range. And also, for some of those shots, Cole was running right towards him. Yet, interestingly, not one single round landed on Cole.
The suspect was never hit. Correct, team? He was never hit by a bullet. That is correct. The suspect was not hit.
Frank! I got him,
Frank, you look so sad on the bus. I mean, I'm sorry. It was self-defense.
Also, notice who's behind Cole here. Yeah, apparently uniformed Secret Service officers and TSA employees. That's what's called a failure to maintain backdrop awareness. It's because if someone shoots their weapon at the target and it misses the target or it goes through their target, then it may also hit someone behind the target, possibly those TSA employees and also other officers. However, what's interesting here is that that officer allegedly didn't hit Cole, but at the same time, he also didn't hit anyone behind Cole either. Now he continues to quickly spin around and shoot, and apparently very nearly missing his fellow Secret Service plainclothes officer right here. It at least seems like that Secret Service officer was just spinning as quickly as he could and trying to hit Cole and didn't really think about what was beyond Cole, such as that plainclothes Secret Service officer who was standing right next to him that he nearly missed.
All right, so what happened to those bullets? Might they have just been blanks? Might this whole thing just be a stage act? And those bullets, if they were really fired, went somewhere, didn't they? You know? I mean, when they assassinated RFK, they found all the 13 bullets. 3 of them were in Robert Kennedy. 1 in his shoulder pad, 1 in his back, and 1 in his brain from a down low position. This is just all bullshit. Let's go back.
Drew those guns so fast, they look like Matt Dillon.
Our officer heroically returned fire while being shot point blank range in the chest with a shotgun. He was able to get off 5 shots. It's great training.
If he got shot with a shotgun, even with buckshot, he would be blown backward. He wouldn't be standing up. This is all bullshit. This is total bullshit.
The officer just acted heroically.
And he would have pellets in his arms. I mean, this is just total bullshit. His arms are out in front of him.
Why is it, top to bottom, every member of the admin is consistently defending the Secret Service when people like you and many others are like, hey, there are serious problems here?
I wish I knew the exact answer, but what I can point at it from being in the administration is a culture that's almost zero fail, or this constant quest for good vibes and good news stories.
The officer just acted heroically.
Some may say this is a high-stakes situation, and sometimes you just have to gamble that hopefully you're going to hit the guy by just spinning around quickly and just shooting your gun as quickly as possible. I would say that's not the case no matter where you are or no matter any situation, really. Because anyone who is familiar with firearms knows that everyone is responsible for every round that they shoot. You hit your coworker because you're just quickly spinning around and shooting, trying to hit this guy that's just running quickly past you. Yeah, you can be in a lot of trouble. It's nearly a miracle that other Secret Service and TSA employees were not hitting any of this due to a lack of target isolation.
The suspect hit his knee while being engaged by the officer on one of our magnetometer boxes and began to fall to the ground. That's what it appears to be. And at that moment is when officers and agents were able to subdue him and pile on top of him.
They actually didn't take the suspect down. He tripped. He fell.
Which apparently saved his life. We do notice those employees that are leaning against the wall, they go and run, and some people say that, oh, well, they're just scared law enforcement and ran away from danger. However, it's quite clear that they're TSA employees and likely didn't have weapons on them. So it's more understandable why they would run to safety to avoid getting caught in an fight. However, when they're trying to get to safety, it was more of a falling and tripping and rolling to safety. The response time is actually quite good, and when you see the doors open over here, do you notice what you also see? Yes, you see plainclothes Secret Service running down the stairs. Do you know why? Yes, it's to help with the evacuation plan of the president, vice president, and all the high-level administration officials who are dining downstairs in the banquet room. And you can see the point in time in this video when they apprehend and disarm Cole. Yes, you can see in this video the weapons being tossed away from Cole as they're disarming Cole.
The site was set up perfectly. I will tell you, I would not change the site again.
Now in the comments, why do you think the Secret Service missed all of their shots on Cole Allen? Let everyone know in the comments below. Subscribe for more. And
I think they're shooting blanks. The whole thing is just a complete fucking setup. And again, you get shot with a shotgun to your chest, you're going to fall down backwards. You're not going to be standing up. I don't care if it's a 410, a 12 gauge, 14 gauge, 20 gauge, you're going to go down. Thing's bullshit. You think not, or you're free to think whatever the hell you like. I do.